Very few people expected a stellar start to the season for the New York Jets, but very few people also predicted the New York Jets to start 0-5. However, that's where the team stands as they prepare for their Week 6 matchup across the pond against the Denver Broncos in London. And ahead of the matchup, head coach Aaron Glenn continues to defend his team and some of the narratives that surround his 0-5 squad. Is Glenn, is Steve Wilks and company able to turn it around before the season officially goes off the rails? We'll talk about that and much more, all coming up here on a Thursday edition of NY Flight Jets Talk, joined by first-time guest, the great Steve Overmyer of CBS Channel 2 New York, baby. Let's go!
This is NY Flight Jets Talk with Connor Long. NY Flight Jets Talk. We're talking Jets, 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 Jets. NY Flight Jets Talk with special guests. NY Flight Jets Talk. Here's your host, Connor Long. Jets, 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 Jets.
Here we go, New York Jet fans. Hello, everyone. Welcome back here into another edition of NY Flight Jets Talk as we come to you guys live right here on this Thursday evening, October 9th, 2025. Thank you all for joining us. Make sure you drop down below, smash that like button, hit subscribe. That is the free way to support us and help us grow. Right here on the channel, we want to engage with you. We want to hear what you guys have to say. So be sure to throw all your questions, your comments, your thoughts in the chat for us to get you guys to call into the show with the link pinned at the top of the chat. We appreciate your support. As always, right here on NY Flight Jets Talk, the Jets are 0-5. They suck. It doesn't matter, though. We're still coming to you guys every single day with daily content right here on the channel. Of course, you can find my opinions, my thoughts on this team daily right here on NY Flight Jets Talk on YouTube. You can also find my written work over at jetsxfactor.com. So be sure to check us out and support my work over there as well. And someone who supported me a ton throughout my journey in this media space, my journey to start this channel, someone who I was lucky enough to meet last summer, and overall an incredible guy. And he covers the team for CBS Channel 2 in New York, the great Steve Overmyer. Graced us with his presence. Steve, it is great to be with you again, my friend.
Thank you for inviting me, man. I'm grateful, man. I just want everybody to know the last time I saw you, you were 13, and that was a year ago, right?
Yep,
I mean,
correct.
You're literally only 14 years old, and you are now 6 feet 7 inches tall, and you have grown so much in popularity and in physical stature. I mean, you look like a man now. You're all grown up. Connor's all grown up, man. And so proud of you, man. I'm so proud of what you've done and the following that you've kind of created, and you've done that through hard work doing this on a day in, day out basis, man. So you're doing the work the right way, brother.
Well, I really appreciate that. I appreciate the kind words always. And it was incredible the way that we got to meet. And obviously it's been great being able to stay in touch with you, a team that hasn't been, fun, great to watch this year, great to follow, frankly, the New York Jets, Steve. And like I mentioned there in the open, you look at the schedule and you look at the start that this team had to the year, the first 3 matchups of the year, going up against 3 teams who were in the playoffs last year, 2 of which are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Buffalo Bills, won their respective divisions. No one expected the Jets to get out of there perfectly and, get off to a 3-0 start to the year. But I think that, what frustrated fans the most to open the year is the way they lost those games, being up 9 points in the fourth quarter against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and then watching Xavier Gipson fumble and the script of the game completely change after that kickoff. Week 2 against Buffalo just being a complete no-show against the division rival after, a quote moral victory, as some called it, after week 1. Then go into Tampa Bay and it takes a miracle, a Will McDonald blocked field goal to keep it within 1 score. And then the final straw, I think, was losing to Miami on Monday Night Football, a team that was winless alongside the Jets entering that matchup, and such a winnable game for New York that they just missed opportunity after missed opportunity. fumbles on special teams, fumble by Braylon Allen inside the 5 yard line, and then obviously just getting, their teeth kicked in at home against the Dallas Cowboys in week 5. And rightfully so. This fan base has no optimism left. This is a team that hasn't appeared in the postseason since 2010. And, Aaron Glenn coming to town, there was this renewed sense of hope, this renewed sense of optimism. And now 5 games into the season, Steve, that is completely gone out the window. So I want to kind of gauge your thoughts on, how the Jets have played so far this season and in your eyes. And is there any hope? Is there any hope that, this team could still potentially finagle something out with AG? Is it just growing pains? How do you view this start to the year?
I mean, I think there's hope, but the hope has to be a little bit more long term. I
Yep.
mean, one of the things that AG brought up, look, I'm always someone that preaches patience. It is the problem is for Jets fans don't want to hear the word patience because
Yes.
that's something that they've heard for decades is it's
Mhm.
going to happen. But when it does happen, it comes together very quickly. We saw what happened when Rex Ryan was here, how quickly that sped up the process. With Aaron Glenn's tenure here, he said it best, I feel like this last week when he said that, you know, we didn't start off so good when he was in Detroit and Campbell was the head coach there. They had a
Mhm.
rough first season. Sometimes it takes a little time for the guys to understand what everybody's responsibility is. And then, secondly, trying to figure out whether or not they have the players who have the attributes
Yes.
they need to play the type of defense they want. Let's not forget that this is a Jets defense that was built by Coach Sala to play predominantly zone. And the Jets
Yep.
ran a zone defense more. I think it was the third most zone defense
Mhm.
percentage in the NFL last year and the year before that as well. They were also top 5 in zone coverage percentage. And clearly, this defense is now shifting to man, predominantly man,
Press, exactly.
and press. Exactly. We see that that should lend itself to putting Sauce on an island, which the balls aren't being thrown his way, but at the same time, he is getting past defenses and he is giving up some big plays every now and again. We saw
Mhm.
what happens on the Pickens play this past week. But I'm seeing moments. So to answer your question, I'm seeing moments that I
Yep.
feel like they can build on. But right now, it doesn't feel like this team has the personnel. They just don't have the players to run the defense the way that they want to run. They don't have
Yes.
the players to run the offense in the manner they're hoping. So and on top of that, it's compounded by the fact that they are playing a focusless type of
Absolutely.
play and way too many penalties. And I do have to agree with Sauce on one thing. It does feel like the officials are throwing more penalties at the Jets because the Jets get a lot of penalties, some of them ticky tack, and sometimes the Jets don't get the benefit of the calls. How many times has Justin Fields been hit in the head? And if
Oh,
and
yeah.
if Josh Allen were hit in the head as many times as Fields has been hit in the head, there would have been 20 15-yard penalties called on the defenses. So it does feel like they're not getting a whole lot of luck, but at the same time, you got to make your luck. And right
Yeah.
now, the Jets don't have the players right now to make their luck. They are a thin roster. And once you get past some of the starters, the depth is tested, which is always something monumental in the NFL. And
Yes.
right now, the Jets do not have that depth, and I think that it's really affecting their mentality and their psyche. And what you have to worry about is whether or not this is going to fracture the team. And the to sum up this point, what inspires me that this team isn't fractured is what we're hearing out of London this week when Quinton Williams says we're 0-5 because the defense has put us in
Yeah.
this position. We are the problem. He's not wrong. They were the ones that gave up those plays. They
Yeah.
were the ones that could not hold on to the lead. You had a lead against the Steelers. You had a lead against the Buccaneers. You had a chance for 2 wins right there if the defense holds, and they weren't able to do that. So I do like the fact that accountability is a major thing, but more than accountability, they need answers. And right now, I'm
Yes.
not seeing those answers on the horizon.
Most definitely. And, I find the comp to the 2021 Lions intriguing. And my main response to those comps have been this team has a lot more talent than the 2021 Detroit Lions have. Now, look, this roster, I do think the talent was overrated. I was a big proponent of that going into the year. And I was fairly optimistic on this team, Steve. I had them going 8-9 this season. And again, I think record predictions, those who watch the show know, I think record predictions are the stupidest things ever, and they never end up working out. And no one on God's green earth could have predicted the Jets to win 5 games, of course, last season. I think very few people, except the super, super low pessimists, expected the Jets to start 0-5 this year. And, when you look at the defense, it's been the most frustrating unit because this was expected to be the backbone of this team. Nobody expected, Steve, the offense to go out there and score 25, 27, 30 points per game. The goal of which Aaron Glenn kind of proposed and, laid out this offseason that a lot of fans were bought in for is, look, this defense has talent. They're solid. We paid Brandon Stevens $36 million this offseason. We're going to turn him into a legit cornerback, too. Obviously, we know that hasn't played out. Same old's true for safety Andre Cisco, who they brought in. This defense has cost them to lose multiple football games. Steve, Justin Fields has not been great. Justin Fields has not played like a top 10 quarterback in the NFL, but he has played well enough throughout his 4 starts. Granted, Tyrod Taylor started the week 3 game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think he has played well enough in his 4 starts for this team to be 2-2 or 1-3. Look, 2 and
Without a
2 might
doubt.
be a bit of a stretch, but certainly 1-3. I think he played well enough for you to beat Pittsburgh. Buffalo, obviously a wash, didn't play in week 3. I think he played well enough for you to beat Miami, undoubtedly so. And I think he played, an up and down brand of football against Dallas. There are no doubts. There's still concerns with Fields, him holding onto the ball for far too long and not getting out of his hands. But, mainly what I wanted to get into right here on the show was the fact Aaron Glenn, speaking to reporters in London, he denied the narrative of this team being a garbage time team and spoke about how opposing defenses never take their foot off the pedal. And this team is, just happens to play their best football in the fourth quarter. I mean, look what happened against Tampa Bay. Todd Bowles was sending, blitzes at Justin Fields 40, 50% of the times. Then you get to the fourth quarter, Tyrod Taylor, excuse me, they want to keep everything in front of them. They go to pretty much a full prevent style defense, and that's what allows the Jets to score all of their points. So I'm tired of the excuses from this organization. I'm tired of, saying, oh, they're playing well in the fourth quarter. They need to play 4 quarters of football. They don't need to just play the fourth quarter. They need to play 4 quarters to come away with a win, Steve.
There's 2 times when you can count on the Jets offense to do something. The first drive of the game and the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And it's because it's because they're usually trailing by a couple of touchdowns. And you're right, they're playing. The defense has dropped back a lot more, and a lot of those underneath passes are available to Fields. And Fields, to his credit, is checking down, but those passes aren't available to him, I don't think, earlier in the game because he's getting heated up. And yeah, see, this is a problem that was honestly recognized in that Buccaneers game, is that the Jets are not good at figuring out how to stop the blitz. They're not
Yeah.
good at picking up the blitz. And if there's an aspect of the game that there's a problem with, other teams are going to check your oil on that every single game. And so what's been happening? He's going to get a lot more extra man coming at him, and it's up to the Jets to figure out how to block that, how to check out of that, and how to read the defense. And that's kind of always been the knock on Justin Fields. What I was inspired by early in the season was I liked the way that he was moving the offensive position players around. He was calling audibles.
Yep.
He was checking out. He was reading the defense pre-snap, making adjustments. But in this last game against Dallas, I think he was misreading the defense and he was
Yeah.
adjusting into the rush, like that fourth and 2 play to Beck. I mean, he rolled to the left, and to try to for a right-handed quarterback to try to throw the ball to the left while
Crossbody.
you're rolling to the left. to a fullback nonetheless. Your eighth target, that can't be the option. That can't be your 4th and 2 go-to, is a play action, roll out, naked boot to your eighth receiving option as a fullback. He should have just tucked it and ran if that's what he's good at, which he is. He is an exceptional playmaker with his feet. That needs to be accentuated a little bit more in this offense. What we've learned is that the Jets can run the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, Brees Hall had, I want to say he had 4 carries of, no, wait, I think it was 6 carries of 10 or more yards. He had 3 carries of 20 or more yards in this last game. He had a couple other 9-yard carries and 8-yard
Yeah.
carries.
He just had
I mean,
that killer fumble. He just had that killer fumble. That's all
he
he had.
did.
That game, that fumble there, Steve, I don't mean to cut you off. That
Yeah,
fumble there, however, in the first half, the score was 10-3.
would
And
have
the
tied
Jets
it.
were marching down inside the red zone and just, a play like that. And I covered it for JetX. And he had an incredible game against Dallas. He's on pace to have a career year this year. But, a play like that when the score's 10-3, and then they get the ball back, and then Javonte Williams rips off that 66-yard run, caps up the half, and then what was a 10-3 game with just minutes to go before the break is now a 2-3 score game, and that's where the game
Yeah,
really broke open.
yeah, that was absolutely, that was, you hit it right on it. It was from 10-3 to 17-3.
Yep.
Then the offense couldn't do anything, and now it's 23-3.
Yep.
So yes, that would, and that all happened within a span of 2 minutes and 27 seconds
Yeah.
of the at the end of the second quarter. So yes, this is a Jets team that is constantly shooting themselves in the foot. Terrible
Mhm.
fumbles. Braylon Allen had a horrible fumble as he was
At the
going
3. Yeah.
in at the 3-yard line. So it's, and the problem is they're not getting them. It's okay. I don't want to say it's okay, but you've got to get something on the return. And right now they're
Exactly.
-8 on turnover differential because they haven't forced a turnover. And that's
Mhm.
why I agree with Quinnen. It's his fault for missed tackles, missed assignments, missed opportunities to pick the ball off, missed opportunities to pick up
Yep.
fumbles. They are forcing fumbles; they're just not landing on the fumbles.
Exactly.
So this is a lot of missed opportunities, and I completely understand the Jets fan base right now feeling like they want to give up because
Yeah.
we've seen this script before. We've seen how this season plays out. It wasn't too long ago that we saw what, an 0-11 start for the Jets.
Mhm.
So man, I hope that we aren't going down that road here. That would be, I mean, that would be hard to try to swallow yet another season like that. But right now, this team has got to figure out how to win, how to close out a game.
Yep.
It's not just getting the lead, but being able to close games out. And that's where their biggest issue is right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll wrap with this topic, Steve, here before we let you go, and then I'll obviously stay on here a little longer to get to everyone in the chat. But my gripe with Aaron Glenn so far has kind of been the way that he portrayed this team and portrayed himself to the media, to fans this offseason, talking about how everything this team does, every single move that this organization makes is centered around winning now. And then you see him speaking to reporters after an 0-5 start and walks back those comments talking about, oh, this isn't an instant coffee team. And, the fact that he's, done all this, he's brought all this nuance, I think is the way to put it, to this organization and tried to show that it's not the same old Jets. And he said that outright after a loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He said, this isn't the same old Jets. Like, that's a comment that is made by Aaron Glenn that just leaves fans in frustration. Now, if I'm Aaron Glenn, I say, we are the same old Jets, but we're working every single day to change that narrative. They were 0-3 at that time, and now, of course, they're 0-5. So I think the thing that's frustrated fans the most with Aaron Glenn is the way that they've lost and the way that the defense is played, and him obviously having a defensive background and all the people who were so gung-ho on bringing an experienced coach to New York. Now we're seeing another first-timer kind of learn on the job and struggle early on. I'm not advocating for Darren Muji and Aaron Glenn to be fired after this offseason, but
Yeah.
during this offseason. But if you see 12 more games like this, Steve, where the Jets continue to play at this rate or continue to coach like this and continue to commit this many penalties game in and game out. The pre-snap penalties, I don't care about the PIs. I don't care about the holds that, happen in play. I'm talking about the pre-snap encroachment. I'm talking about the pre-snap false starts. And, let's say the Jets are picking in the top 3 and, finish anywhere from 2 to 5 wins. And I'm not predicting that to happen. But what I'm saying is, should that be the case and this team continue to put the same product on the field week in and week out, there has to be a conversation at the end of the year. What does the future look like for Aaron Glenn? There is no reason that, again, should they continue to play like this, Aaron Glenn can't be Gerard Mayo last year with the New England Patriots. Aaron Glenn can't be, Frank Reich. Aaron Glenn can't be what his current, coaching partner, Steve Wilkes, was with the Arizona Cardinals, and a one-and-done coach, maybe hoping that an experienced guy like Mike Vrabel for the Patriots came on the market last year, and then they bring him in. So again, I'm not advocating for that, Steve.
Right.
They continue to play like this, there has to be a conversation about that with management.
I mean, I think that we're still a ways away, and I get what your caveat is. It's got to be by the end of the season if it's a terrible season. I get that. I still think that it would have to be a monumental collapse,
Yeah.
and the locker room would have to revolt against Aaron Glenn, and I don't see that happening. So I think that the chances of the Jets moving on from Glenn after 1 year are definitely pretty long. I mean, I would say that it would be less than 5% of a
Absolutely.
chance that they're going to be moving on from Aaron Glenn. So at this point, I think that the team and the fan base needs to just give a little grace. It's really hard. I know it. I know it's very hard to give grace right now, especially considering how difficult it has been to watch this team lose. But they're not losing the way the Arizona Cardinals lost.
Yep.
There's- I'm trying to find
There's that.
some
There's
I'm
that.
trying to find some balance. I mean, that was a very ugly way to lose a game, the way that they lost. So it could be worse, and you are seeing signs of improvement. You are seeing that there is there's a group of guys that are trying to come together, and they're trying to find their chemistry, and they're trying to fight for
Yep.
one another. And that's the fact that they are still doing that, I think is the best indicator of what the mentality of this team is. And that's what they're trying to do. I feel like in
Yeah.
London for this particular week, they are spending their evenings with one another. It's almost like a second training camp for them
Yes.
across the pond, a chance for them to kind of get to know each other on a more personal basis while you're focusing on the rest of the season. And I'm hoping that cohesiveness that might build might show itself on the field. All it takes is one win to go in the right direction. It doesn't take much for the pendulum to start to swing in the proper direction if you get a win. And that's what they're looking for. Just some sort of positive element to build momentum off of, and then let's see what happens. Playoffs probably not going to happen this year. I mean, it's less than a 1% chance at this point, and we're only 5 weeks into the season.
No team's ever done it. No team's ever done it. They
That
have to
just
make
means
it
there's
up.
an opportunity for them to make history. So I mean, it's right there for 'em. But it's more about, can this team bring it together? Can we see more cohesiveness and fewer mistakes and just a lot more focus, especially late in the game when they're trying to close things out. Teams teams will lose until they learn how to win, and that's where the Jets are right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, the host of Jets Late Night, CBS New York Jets reporter, Steve Overmyer, joining us right here on NY Flight Jets Talk. Steve, I cannot thank you enough
Thank
for
you,
your
Connor.
time as always. It was great to, talk with you about this team, this 2025 team for the first time. Thank you so much for your time as always.
My
You got any
pleasure.
final
Anytime.
thoughts you want to share with the 236 people watching us live right here on
Woohoo!
YouTube before we let you go, Steve? We appreciate it.
Man, I'm just so proud of you, man. You've really
Thank
just
you.
elevated what you've done, and you ask great questions. And
I appreciate
I'm
it.
going to see you with a media badge around your neck in the coming years, and we're probably going to be seeing you a lot more out at Jets camp and soon at the practices as well, asking questions to the players. So you're on your way, man. I mean, listen, I feel like you're growing faster than the Jets are growing. So you're moving in the right direction. The trajectory is up for you.
Steve, thank you so much for the kind words. It means a lot, my friend. Talk soon, brother.
Be well, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Overmyer, Channel 2, New York, host of Jets Late Night, Jets reporter for CBS New York. Tune in with him and Jay Cutler every Jay Fiedler, Jay Cutler getting some Bears flashbacks there. Jim and Jay Fiedler every single Sunday night, Jets Late Night. Be sure to tune in over there. Follow Steve on Twitter at Overmyer TV. Incredible cover, incredible analysis of this team. And of course, he joins us right here on the show. Thank you all for joining us right here live on YouTube, live on Twitter, after the fact on YouTube, after the fact in podcast form, because of course, if you didn't know already, we are available Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Be sure to check us out over there if you want to listen to the show in the audio form, posted immediately after the show. Again, search up NY Flight Jets Talk on Apple, search up NY Flight Jets Talk on Spotify, and you'll find us over there. We appreciate your support as well, wherever and however you are consuming this program. I'm Connor Long right here with you guys on NY Flight Jets Talk. Drop down below, smash that like button. Hit subscribe. We appreciate the hell out of you. We appreciate your support as always. Steve Overmyer, Channel 2, CBS New York, joined us right here on the show. We'll hit a quick super chat. We'll get to any final questions, comments, super chats, and then we will say good riddance. We'll be back tomorrow. However, 9:15 p.m. start time. Joe Blewett, my colleague at JetX, will join us. And then Saturday, of course, the next Jets show. Sunday, pregame show at the crack of dawn, baby. 7:30 a.m. pregame show with Matt O'Leary, and then a postgame reaction after the fact. But Eli drops in with a $5 super chat. Shout out to you, Eli. We appreciate the hell out of you. And we appreciate your support, as always, right here on NY Flight Jets Talk.
Here's what I do know. We're the freaking New York Jets, so we're built for this shit.
Thank you so much, Eli. Says Bo Nix gets happy feet, and he will turn the ball over. Jets have a chance. Look, I don't think this game is out of reach. I don't think, the Jets, this is a completely unwinnable game for the Jets. Now, I'm not picking a winless team to beat a team like the Denver Broncos, especially when you look at the pass rush and overall defense that a team like that boasts. But I don't think this game is completely out of the question. I don't think this is a game that, the Jets are expected to get blown out in. There's a world where they keep it close. It's technically a home game, I believe, for the Jets, as much as that matters in London. But it's going to be an intriguing matchup. And, as much as we hate to say it, we'll be watching this team no matter what the outcome is. We'll be watching. Connor Long right here with you guys on NY Flight Jets Talk. Thank you for joining us. Smash the like button, hit subscribe. We appreciate your support as always right here on the show. Again, back tomorrow, 9:15 p.m. EST, Joe Blewett. So stay tuned for that. We appreciate the hell out of you guys. We appreciate your support as always right here on the program. That'll do it for me. I am your host, Connor Long, signing off right here. Watch Flight Jets Talk. Have a great rest of your evening, everyone. And as always, JTS, baby. Jets. Peace out, folks.